Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome to CogX 2023. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it's your not first time, welcome back. Our 7th edition this year. Lots of questions and answers on this particular stage. I'm Oli, your host. Without further ado, delving deeper into effective altruism. It gives me huge pleasure to welcome someone who has a brilliant role as a professor of philosophy and a research fellow at the Global Priorities Institute at Oxford University. They focus their work on the fundamentals of effective altruism. Please welcome up William MacAskill. Welcome, Will. How are you? Good to see you. Please. Now, Will, the clock is ticking, so we're going to be super speedy.
Sure.
How are you?
Very good.
Thank you for being with us.
Just got in.
Tell us something. You're about to hit the main stage at CogX. Give us the sort of sneakle. What are you going to tell them?
Sure. Well, I mean, the focus would be on effective altruism, the idea of trying to use your time and money as effectively as possible to do as much good as you can. So whether that's through your charitable donations, your career, how can you help other people by as much as possible with the resources that you've got?
So on that, we'll have certain challenges which appear burning right in front of us. Others might be in the bigger picture. So help us as a CogX audience get our head around this. How do we even begin to think about making the most of our time and money?
Sure. So this question of cause prioritization, of all the problems that the world faces, which are the ones we should be focusing on, is just absolutely crucial. Most people don't think about it. They just start working on whatever cause seems salient to them, a disaster or something they're familiar with. But I think that's a mistake. I think we should at least try and really think that through, because different causes, I think we can have a much larger impact in some rather than others. And as at least a set of heuristics, we tend to recommend people thinking about what are the causes that are biggest in scale, so how many people are affected and by how much, most neglected, so have the least amount of attention on them already, and the most tractable, where further work in general makes the most additional progress.
So in that case, how should we think, and stand by everyone, because we're going to do some quick fire questions, help us start to think about long-termism, because we are so short-term in our thinking.
Sure. So, I mean, long-termism is in particular on the importance scale aspect of that, where if you think about all the people you can potentially help, well, there's 8 billion people alive today. I think even if humanity doesn't last that long, on fairly conservative estimates, I think there's many trillions of people alive in the future, like 1,000 times as many people yet to come as there are today. So if at least there are some things that will have a long-term impact, so really imperil society for many, many generations to come, just through sheer weight of numbers, I think it becomes hard to see how anything else can be more important.
But that does involve a certain amount of prediction.
Yeah, so the ability to predict the future, I think we should be very humble by. I think that cuts both ways. So you might think, we talk a lot about artificial intelligence. This has been a major concern for many years now within this community. And a lot of people would say, well, you can't predict the future, so probably it's like decades away.
Yes.
But uncertainty cuts both ways. And as we've seen over the last year in particular, the advances in large language models have been much faster than people expected too. So you might find that things that seem like, oh, that's a distant threat, actually come quite quickly.
It's a very good point. Right, we're going to attempt the impossible. We're going to do 3 questions in 3 minutes. Who's up first? I see you're quick on the draw. I'm looking. Oh, we could have 1 question in 3 minutes, couldn't we? I'm looking.
Okay, we've got a second one.
I used to be an auctioneer. I see that. Right, in that case, we'll come to the front row, and I'll be sharing my own headset with you if we're not even speedier on the draw. In a nice big voice, what's your question?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, how'd you do? Oh, no, no, here we go. It's all right. It's all right.
Okay, nice.
It's the after lunch slot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm really into effective altruism.
Terrific.
You're getting into a university. Just a quick question. I've been into getting into the philosophy of antinatalism. The question of whether it's right to have kids. And from a effective altruism position, it seems to me that it's probably not the best way to use our time and resources. Having a child and investing in them. So I was wondering your thoughts on that, just from that perspective.
Okay, yeah, great question.
Your thoughts inside 20 seconds, I think you meant to say.
Sure. I mean, I actually think all things being equal, if you can have a kid and raise them well and help them be someone who will contribute to the world, I actually think that's a good thing rather than rather than a bad thing, as the antinatalists would say. However, there's the harder question of like, is it the best use of your time and so on? And I mean, I don't want to be too strong on this kind of either way because it's a deeply personal choice. But you're right that I think, maybe for many people, if you're passionate about your career, you think you can have a bigger impact that way, then yeah, that can make sense.
Powerful ideas. Thank you. Let's have another question. I think there's one in the middle here. I'm looking around. We don't just want the men asking questions. Go on.
Hi. From what I understand from effective altruism as well, it's a lot of maths around and sort of just theorizing about what's the optimal way of achieving an outcome, right? So you might have climate change, you might have Project Drawdown, with sort of like 50 different things that you can do, and there'll be some really niche thing that can like actually has more impact than other things. But do you think that now with LLMs coming up and now you have the ability to ask ChatGPT, like, optimize how do we solve climate change, and it will go and figure out this kind of function. What are your thoughts on kind of how we're going to have this? Are we going to have debates on sort of what's the right optimization functions for these big issues? And is that going to be open or are they going to be closed?
Yeah, I mean, I think there should be enormous debates. And I think you're right that at the current stage of development and in the future, these language models have enormous potential to help us, to help us make progress on some of these big issues. You ask whether that will be open or closed. I mean, the predictive question is difficult. I certainly hope that it'll be an open debate. I think there's a big worry that AI will enable like intense concentration of power, and then those big kind of decisions of how should we guide society happen among only a handful of people. I think that would be very bad. So.
Right, so my only issue is those two questions are a bit too good. And we have now been beaten by the clock. William, will you stay for another sort of 5 minutes in the wings?
Yeah,
we wanted to collar you briefly.
More than happy to.
I know you're up on the main stage briefly. It's a tantalising teaser on effective altruism, but of course Will does make his way to the main stage. So we're grateful to you for stopping by, and good luck later, but we'll have some quick chats
Thank you
now.
for the lightning
William
round.
MacAskill, thank you very much.